made some adjustments. Changes have been made to this ranking. We have changed a couple of things. At the top and at the bottom, things have stayed the same. I don't think that there's going to be any people that are going to disagree that the Seattle Seahawks and Rams still have an expectation to take home the Vince Lombardi Trophy this season. Seattle maybe lost Reek Woolen and Kenneth Walker, the Super Bowl MVP, and they are looking for production from Jadarian Price. They're looking elsewhere on the defensive side of the football to replace what they lost in Boye Mafe. So, while I am somewhat down on Seattle, they're the champs. They remain the Super Bowl champs, and they're going to stay in that category. Because for their fan base, what's going on, Dean? Good to see you in here. We've made a couple of updates. To the power rankings. Dave, good to see you. Nick, Gregory, what's happening? We have made a couple of updates, and now we're feeling it out. We've changed a couple of things. And I'm excited to get on here and chat for the next couple of hours, going through it, hear what people disagree with, and what people actually do like. I moved the Tennessee Titans up. I moved the New Orleans Saints up. Thought that those are a couple of teams that have directions for their organizations with the quarterback position, with talent around there now. Two guys that you can reliably say that you believe can be good pass catchers. Chris Olave paired with Jordan Tyson for the Tennessee Titans. And then obviously you have Cornell Tate and Wan'Dale Robinson, the draft pick for Tennessee in the first round, their top 10 selection, as well as Wan'Dale, their free agent acquisition that they're very excited about. They feel like they've got a really good number 2 wide receiver out of him, and they have every reason to believe so. Over 1,000 yards in 2025 for Wan'Dale Robinson. What's going on, Pastel? How we doing? We're going to be here a lot longer. You're getting shucked tonight. I am not, Dan, man. We're going to be here a lot longer going through all of this. Get to a Super Bowl this year, Josh. I appreciate that. Thank you. Chicago Bears getting to a Super Bowl would certainly make me get shucked. We would get shucked if that happened. I don't know if I'm using that correctly. Do you think the Seahawks are going to be better than the Broncos? I'm about the same on them, but they have different expectations. Seattle coming off of a Super Bowl. I do have the Chicago Bears over Baltimore for next year. As of right now, at least. Getting the feelers out. New power ranking update. Let's see how it goes. Post-schedule release and whatnot. Yes, YSL. Some know YSL to mean Young Schleim Life. The organization. Rams are a bust. I had to move someone down. I chose Baltimore. Who me joined? What's going on, Who me? I've got Baltimore right there on Pittsburgh's level. To Portal YSL. I got you, Dan, man. My favorite team is the Eagles from Pastel Dreams. Yeah, they've been a forefront organization for a long time now, led by Howie Roseman, who had a very fun draft. From Ryan, who wins the NFC West? I'm going with the Rams. Although I have power ranked Seattle as the Super Bowl champs, I believe the best team in football currently is. Why does everyone always put the Rams over the Eagles? Can you tell me the Eagles versus Rams record all time off the top of my head? I can't tell you that record, but I do know the last 3 matchups at least that they've faced. Phillies won those. Playoff game, divisional round in the snow, second half. The latest matchup, week 3 this year in Philly. And then the game on Sunday Night Football. Appreciate you, Jack. Thank you very much. I appreciate the sub. And then Sunday Night Football, the Eagles dismantled them. So why Rams over the Birds? Well, I like Stafford more than Hurts, simply put. I like the MVP more. I like their receiver room now that A.J. Brown is, the writing is on the wall for him to be headed out of town. From Dan Man says, I believe that the Rams will be a big bust. Look, anything to them except a Lombardi trophy is a big bust for them. From Midnight Squirrel with a comment about Joe Rogan. What about Joe? Is that true? I'm going to look that up right now. That comment is so ridiculous that I am going to fact check it. And it's not true. We got fake news on YouTube from one of the commenters. Come on now. Let's be better than that, folks. Taking me off course for 15 seconds on the stream, Midnight Squirrel. Let's be better. No. Why do so many people act like the Lions are just and have no chance to be good? Well, that's not me, hate you. You see here, I've got them ranked number 5. About as high as anybody for the Detroit Lions. I am. Hate you. But hate you, make sure that you're following. If you're looking for unbiased commentary and analysts on this sport, hate you. Lil Rich, what's happening? This is where you're going to find it. As a Chicago Bears fan, I see what Detroit has. They took out the Bears twice last year. Right? That was a team that was written off, and they went into Soldier Field in Week 18 with nothing to play for, similarly a couple of years ago on Sunday night and beat the Packers. Chicago had the 2 seed to play for. Philly wound up losing, but top 3 favorite dog breeds? I really only have one favorite dog breed, and it's a pug. Pug's my favorite through and through. After that, they're all great, but pug, everything else far below it. From Hate You, I know you aren't biased. Well, I appreciate that sentiment. Thank you very. Hate You. What would you change though? Give me some pushback on something. Let me know what you'd want to change. Sorry, your Bears don't have the minerals. At least they haven't in big games over the last 4 decades for the most part. Just can't put it together in the biggest moments the last number of years. What's going on? How we doing? How we doing? Am I letting people up? Currently, I mean, we just got on another stream a little bit ago from Slamming. If you think if you don't like the list, let me know what you don't like, what you'd want to change. Right now, we're on YouTube right now with some folks on there, and I've tried before with the cross streaming. It's very tough to get people with both. We will split with Detroit this year. From Terry Boyce. Speaking on the Chicago Bears, Terry? Saying that the Bears are going to split? Does we mean the Chicago Bears? You got another Bears fan in the chat? Terry, I believe that's where it's headed. Detroit is a team to me that's going 11-6, 12-5 next year with all the talent that they have. Weapons in Laporta, Amon-Ra, Jameer, obviously J-Mo. Now they replace Quadin Muhammad with more. They don't lose a beat. They're going to replace Taylor Decker with Blake Miller. He's a plug-and-play player for the next decade plus. So they've made the moves to be able to retain what they've been, Terry. But Chicago, it doesn't make sense to me why David Bailey gave my Bears a tough schedule, but hopefully it makes them tougher at the end. From David Bailey. Is your name? It's got to actually. David Bailey's not a crazy name. We got another guy. You probably had David Bailey first. But David Bailey, Terry Boyce, guys, make sure that you're following. Bears fans on here. I am a die-hard fan myself. The conversation of the day is obviously not catered towards the Chicago Bears. It's towards you guys and what you want me to talk about and the questions you have. During the season, it's a lot more rigid and structured with how we discuss, but this part of year, it's simply all about you guys, the viewers. You should make another tier called playoff locks, but not contenders. Yeah, Dan, man, we can do that. It's simple. I had to make, of any NFL player. I had to make. Hey, Josh, did you get a number one receiver this season? I think Rome Odunze can step up into that role. Taylor McGrath, what's going on? Good to see you in here. Dolphins top 10 from Ambrosius. I would disagree, and I think that wouldn't be the best for Miami. It's much better that the Dolphins finish in the bottom 5, get an elite blue chip player, than even make the playoffs and have a wild card exit. I know people want to see Miami succeed, but we sometimes have to be forward, long-term thinking about this kind of a thing. If I had to make you an edit of any NFL player, who would it be? Give me a Pat Tillman edit. Does it got to be current player? I want to see a Pat Tillman edit. It's Memorial Day. Why not Pat Tillman edit? Are we cool with that? If you can make an edit? Appreciate you, Terry. Thanks. Yeah, J-Mo. That would be really cool. Pat Tillman, huge dub. Yeah, that's the guy I'd want to most see. If someone's going to make an edit from current former player, that's who I want to see the most right now. Cowboys are contenders. We're that high on them, are we, Ace Havin? Thank you, Ryan, on Pat Tillman. And I don't know, maybe it is just the day that I thought of him first popped into my head. But man, what a ball player he was. The COYG. They don't make him like Tillman no more. They don't. They don't. And that's what I was saying last night throughout the live. They don't make people like they kind of used to, folks, in that generation. Guys like my grandpa fighting in Normandy, in France. My grandpa's brother, Sidney Blinder, 35 combat missions in the Pacific during World War II. They just don't make guys like that. He was a tail gunner on B-29s. Just a different breed is right. I'm also interested in Mendoza this year. I loved Indiana. Half the league. Well, remember, Vaden, 14 teams make the playoffs. Is it Vaden? 14 teams make the playoffs. So you're seeing 13 teams that are in the contenders plus Super Bowl or bust category. There's a lot of great football teams in the league, and there's a lot of teams that are good, but they've got questions surrounding them. Please slam some beers for Pat Tillman today, folks. Not too many to the sense of it hurting yourself, but if you can afford to, I recommend it. Do it for me at least to slam him for him, as we're going to be live here for about the next 5 hours or so. Are the Falcons going to be bad from gun one? That's my prediction. I've got Atlanta going 6-11. Slamming 30 for you, Bubba. Vaden. I appreciate that, Vaden. Please do so. And while you're at it, Vaden, Dustin, guys, make sure that you are following. I appreciate the love, Dustin. Thank you for the gift. Thank you so much. We're going to be here for a while just talking football, power rankings, schedule. Doesn't necessarily have to be power rankings. You want to ask something else in relation to football, go ahead. College, too. This show's been a lot of NFL the last couple of weeks, but once we get to the summer, the college football chatter comes back. Move the Commanders up, Jonathan. I'm sorry if I didn't get there. Steelers are contenders from Donnie. I've got them right there next to Baltimore and Jacksonville, so they could be. Chargers and Packers aren't contenders. I'm higher on Los Angeles, a lot more so than I am for Green Bay. Finally, a good live. Okay, so Seahawks should be in contenders because they lost. Say that again? Because they lost Murray? Say that again, Cena? The worst new stadium. I don't know. The Chicago Bears are often a bad fit on that, Jamie. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears for right now, even though even though they lost Kenneth Walker. Okay. Yeah, I buy that they could be down a little bit. Finally, not an insanely biased list. Braden, I appreciate it, but how do you know it's not biased? How do you know my squad that I'm not necessarily biased? I'm just curious. I appreciate the love, but what about it specifically makes you think it's not biased? Green Bay, Bears, Chargers over the Ravens. You not putting the Broncos up with the Seahawks is crazy from Robert. Is that the Broncos' expectation this year? Is it truly to win the Super Bowl? Like if they don't win the Super Bowl, their fans are devastated. I think a lot of their fans would be happy just to get to the Super Bowl. Same with the Bills, SOY Central. I think Buffalo getting to the Super Bowl would make a lot of Buffalo fans happy to give them hope and belief once again that Josh Allen can actually get them to the big game. Jets actually coming back for real from 916 Productions. It's there for them. There's a path, but a lot of it ironically includes them being very good. There's a crazy catch 22 right now at the New York Jets for Aaron Glenn where it's like, okay, if we do good and we go 7-10, 8-9 and there's improvement for me to keep my job, you don't get necessarily potentially that blue chip talent where you also get to keep your first round draft picks. Celeste, I am a Chicago Bears fan and an Ohio State Buckeye fan. And then my last point on that before I get to you, Braden, is let's say you do very poorly and you go 3-14, you get a very high top end pick to rebuild with a new quarterback. Well, you're probably out of town if you're Aaron Glenn and that happens. So it is a true catch 22 where there's going to be a limit on the talent you can bring in if you do have success this year. But also if you don't and you suck, you're probably out of town. It's the ultimate fun catch 22. Braden, just because I get some of the other lists and they got Vikings or some BS in the contenders category. Yeah, Braden, I got you. I got you there. Braden, if you could shoot a follow, I'd greatly appreciate that. Thank you for sending the love today. It's great to have you in here. Appreciate that. I live in Florida now, but grew up in Illinois. But I would love Da Bears to go to Indiana. Appreciate the follow. Thanks, Braden. Why would we want them to go to? Because you said you grew up there. No, you grew up in Florida, David. But you want them in Indiana? I still don't get that. No, Nolan Smith won't face punishment for the league, not for reckless driving. That's not the way it works. You gotta get into some weed. You gotta get into some hard drug or something like that to get punished by the league or something severe, right? I think maybe domestic wise, but why do Georgia players? I have no idea, Dan, man, what it is about them. What team do you support? Yeah, the Chicago Bears and Ohio State. Yeah, those are my two squads. My favorite player, Celeste. My favorite player is Caleb Williams. It's an easy one for me. London Leopards is a darn good twang to it. It's got it rolls up. But Jacksonville Jaguars has always been a team that you would love to see him in a Super Bowl in the next decade. I think the league would do well for it. Caleb Williams is easy for me just because I live in Los Angeles. I'm not a USC fan, as I've talked about, but I got out there to the Coliseum a couple of times to see Caleb play, and I was sold on being a big fan of him. It's hard not to be. So talented, really good head on his shoulders. Panthers to the bowl. What does it need to look like for Carolina to win 2 playoff games this year? It's pretty simple. We know the defense is going to be a top 10 unit led by Derek Brown, and now they've got Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd and J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson. They've got a very talented defensive unit. It's Bryce Young. It's very simple for them. And I'm not even the Panthers fan. We all want the Panthers to win the division. I wouldn't say that I don't like Justin Jefferson, but I would not say he's in my top 10 favorite players in the NFL. Where is A.J. Brown going? It's the question everybody's asking. It's the $100 million question with what he could earn at that new franchise over the course of the next 4 or 5 years. Chiefs as contenders, EJ. I know I had them below that category, but to me, Patrick Mahomes is as likely as anybody to heal up and be at his former level. From Simon Mueller says, where do I think AJ's going? I think it makes the most sense for him to go to New England. Vrabel, it's simple. I think he wants to go somewhere with a very talented quarterback, and he wants to win, and the coach. You got a combination of three there for him. Because the Titans check off, first of all, one of those things, right? They got a very talented quarterback, but coach, it's as of yet unproven with Saleh as the head guy. We know he can do it as a coordinator. And then winning, it's more likely it'll happen in New England, obviously, because they've done it. Andrew, I appreciate the rose. Thank you very much for sending. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think the Lions are contenders. I'd be curious on that front. I know we talked about it a lot at length yesterday. This is an Ayan AM, and from EJ Ayan, and Simon, all you guys, make sure that you're following. I appreciate y'all for being in here. Thank you guys. Yeah, I agree. I think the Lions window kind of closed. I still think that Detroit's got 2 years of their window. I think they've got a window for 2 more years where they're still not paying Jahmyr Gibbs, or they're not paying crazy money everywhere. Right? They just signed Jack Campbell, but it's coming to an end there. I think that their window's closing. I appreciate that. Thank you for the rose, EJ. Thank you for being in here. I don't think it's over, though. They still have so much talent. Please not to Boston. They don't need a field answer. How come you think Miami is worse than Arizona? Well, roster-wise, cold, grumpy. Demetrius, I get it. Him not going to New England. Are you a Patriots fan? And James also says New England as well. Cold, grumpy. How do you? Yeah, Miami simply roster-wise. I don't think that they're as good as Arizona is, simply put. Arizona's got an absurd schedule. From Adrian, too many teams and contenders. There's a lot of good. To me, it's like, I'm going to put the Chiefs down. I'm going to put the Green Bay Packers down. The Bears. Like, there are 14 teams that make the playoffs. We do got to remember. Someone, obviously, from that list, or 2-3 teams are going to fall off. But people sleeping on the Jags. And Mandy, it's tough because I had them in the contender category last evening, and I updated it this morning. I made a change to it. I'm going to feel things out. I gather intel. I understand the way people feel on these rankings, and it does. Of course, it's gonna influence. You know, it's a matter of groupthink. AJ wants to go to the best sports city in the world. He's gonna be a Patriot. I can't hate that at all. It's a beautiful sports town. Not like beautiful in the sense picturesque, but it is picturesque with a passionate fan base that loves their football. Patriots have plenty of wide receivers and have young guys who need a chance, not this 39 million prima donna who's going to read a book on the sideline if he drops a 3rd and 15. Pass. Demetrius has got words on AJ. Bills are not contenders with Josh Allen at quarterback. Delusional. Washington Steelers and Bengals are not above my Saints, brother. And then Delusional says the Saints are bad. What are you talking about? We got a fun little chat here rolling on YouTube. Who's worse, Philly or Boston fans? Respectfully to Philadelphia fans, I will say them. Boston has achieved more simply as a franchise. I appreciate that. Thank you for sending. Am I pronounced? I don't know. B Vine even. Am I pronouncing that right? I appreciate it. Thank you. And B Vine even. Make sure that you're following. Thank you for being in here and sharing some love with the stream. Thank you very much. And make sure that you're following. Love to have you in here. Curious what you would change about the list. What would you move? Who would you move up? Who would you move down? Say it like Steven. What's going on? Bad video games. John, I'm very sorry to hear that. My prayers go out to you, and thank you for the kind words. Who is the absolute moron who says the Bills aren't contenders with Josh Allen? I think you got to swap the Giants and the Commanders. I don't know about. I could do that right now, right? That'd be a little soon. We got to see it with the Giants. We have to see it. In my opinion, which team is the worst? That one's easy, Celeste. I'm going with the Dolphins, bro. I see why your name is delusional. Never talk from Easy Truth on. I don't know. What would you change? Let me know. Got to be honest, Easy Truth. He isn't deep in the playoffs and top 3 quarterback every year. Get this dude out. He's only been to the divisional round 6 years in a row. Easy Truth, right? Like, I'll take it. I'll take that. I'll take 6 straight years to the divisional round. His name does say delusional Steelers fan, so we know for starters that he's here to have fun, right? The Chargers belong down there at the Titans and Vikings. Respectfully, last year they didn't have their healthy tackles. Which of the playoff teams do you see possibly being contenders if they get there? Oh, it's easy for me with Baltimore. They're one of those teams, Connor, that I was painfully deciding to put them in playoffs. But how could I put the Pittsburgh Steelers below Baltimore when they both showed up there that last game in the season? And I know it came down to a kicker, a skinny white boy kicker, but that's how a lot of games come down to. What are we, 10% of them? It's a decent number that do. And Dan, man, I thought they had it a couple years ago too. AFC title game, Chiefs come to town and they couldn't handle business. Would the Panthers win the Super Bowl this year? I could see it. If Bryce Young turns into the guy, they've got the pieces on defense. Bro thinks it's easy to win a Super Bowl, especially with no average defense and no wide receivers. Barely anyone came in O-line. But Connor, it would be easy for me going with the Ravens. And I'd ask you the same thing. Who's a team on here, Connor, that you think might not be getting enough credit or you think is being a little bit overrated? For me, it's Baltimore. Like, it really pained me to not have them there. I agree, man. Those AFC North matchups go any possible way. I could see Bengals or Ravens personally, without a doubt. I mean, the Browns beat Pittsburgh in a game with nothing to play for at the end of last year, Connor, right? Like, they could have clinched their playoff spot, and then they were an inch away from missing the postseason if Luke makes that kick, and Metcalf punches a fan, ridiculous, and Pittsburgh winds up lucking out, and they get their doors blown off in the playoff game. But Connor, my man, make sure that you're following. Thank you for the questions, and hopefully we get to a couple more here. I appreciate it. My sleeper pick is the Cowboys. Stacked offense, just needed to put it together defensively. Hasn't happened yet. Right on. Yeah, defensively, if they put it together, they don't even have to be an elite defense. Shoot, top half of the league, a top 15 unit, and they maintain what they were defensively. They're going to be dangerous. My Raiders should be in the see it to believe it category. Yeah, I'm high on Las Vegas, but how am I going to put them in that category before Cleveland? You know what I mean? Cowboys will blow it in the playoffs. Man, they've had some good teams that have lost in the playoffs. They got beat by San Francisco twice. I can remember both of those matchups in the last 5 years. They got beat by Green Bay as a 2 seed, blown out at home. Bears are going to fall like they always do. Steelers Super Bowl or bust. From Southside, Bears get it this year. A lot of different things coming down in different ways there. Bears lost too many key pieces to free agency and didn't do enough in the draft. overachieved last year. Got to remember that they had injuries as well as a lot of teams did. That's one of the key factors. They were very healthy on offense, but remember, they've got one of the best cornerback combos in football. Oh, and good to see you in here. Thank you for joining. We're just going over power rankings, chatting ball. Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon weren't healthy. The fact that you don't have the Ravens winning it all tells from Connor. Do we have two Connor Davises in the chat right now? Hold on. We've got Connor Davis and Connor Davis. Connor, it's not you doubled up, right? Are you doubled up right now, going a different direction? Yeah, we got two Connor Davises in the chat. What's going on, Evan? That's wild. Both Connor Davises. Make sure that you're followed. I got to see that more often. I'm a Bengals fan too. So you guys have the same name and very different allegiances. We got one Connor that's been chill throughout the live, and one that came in hot, but given respect. For real though. Connor, Titans are definitely winning the AFC South from Owen. I don't know about definitely. The Houston Texans have other ideas next year. Gotta watch the Knicks play. See you next. Andrew, I respect it. NBA, you guys gotta leave and watch some basketball. I got nothing to hold you back. New head coach Lamar is mad. Come on, bro. We go 15-2. I'm the last person to talk negatively about Baltimore. I really like the Ravens. Let me ask you this. Which contender team are you most on the fence about? Man. Well, on the fence about, so I'm going to take this a different way for you. I'm on the fence about Philadelphia hard right now because that division is compressing. They've lost some key pieces. Guys are getting more expensive, and soon, they're going to have to sign Cooper DeJean. They're going to have to sign Jalen Carter. They might lose even more players because of them just being paced out of contracts and having to pay these guys. The other Connor says get rid of LA Dolphins should be higher for sure. I could see Philadelphia going 8-9 next year. I wouldn't be shocked to see that happen. And it doesn't even mean they'd be awful. It's just the division's even getting better. New York, Washington, Dallas. There's no bad team in the East. You've got Philly 9-8 from SK. Yeah, I know what you mean there. Detroit will also win 11 or 12 games and be a contender and give the Rams their best shake besides. So right now in the NFC, my prediction for the champ game is Rams-Lions in the NFC title game. Easy truth. So we're lockstep on that. Thoughts on Thieneman as Bears first rounder, South Side? I mean, South Side, I got to ask you first. Do you remember the name Gary Fensick? 45 on that 85 defense. Don't buy into the Hurt slander propaganda. Of course, he's still solid. He's a Super Bowl champion. I mean, I liked him at Bama, liked him at Oklahoma. Mobile, very good head on his shoulders, sturdy, doesn't get too high or low. I think Dylan Thieneman is going to be awesome. JMO, bro, you're done with the edit? If you want to send it, I think the best way to send it, if you want to send me the edit, JMO, bro, is if you can send it to my, I think Instagram would work the best. I'm just Blitz with Blender on Instagram. If you want to DM me the edit that you make on there, and I'll take a look at it. That'd be cool. Underrated opinion. If we see Daniel Jones come, yeah, same thing, JMO. Tag posted on here. Yeah, that works too. Evan, AFC title game. Yeah. I got the Chiefs playing. Not the Chiefs. I got the Chargers. Wrong CH. I got the Chargers playing the Texans. Focus, yeah, right. I've been in Washington a long time. Seahawks fans came around the year. Alexander was a beast. Alexander, absolutely. And they lost to Pittsburgh. And then again, when Wilson was around, now you act like you've been fans all along. A lot of them are diehards. We got to give Seahawks fans credit, but there were some rough years there for Seattle. High on the Chargers. Herbert is elite. I have Chargers Bills. I think it's a good prediction. That's bad. Chargers and Texans won't sniff the Super Bowl. We can disagree. There's nothing wrong with some fun disagreement on here. I've seen a lot of really good defenses, and this Texans one this upcoming season might be the best. And with Los Angeles, that offensive line tackle duo is right up there with the ability that they could mitigate Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter. And they just drafted guys to be able to help on the interior. Dude, Cincinnati is so loaded offensively. How are they not higher? Well, you do see where Pittsburgh's a playoff team a year ago. Jacksonville was. They're still there. Carolina. Baltimore, obviously with a two-time MVP and Lamar. Good to see you back on in here. Christian. History don't lie. Chargers don't have it. It's up to Herbert. It's going to be up to him if he's got what it takes. Eagles, Texans, or Rams, Texans, I got for Super Bowl from Richie. Eagles, Texans, Rams, yeah, Richie, you're lockstep with me on Houston. Houston's my pick to win that AFC. I got Texans, Ram in the Super Bowl, as in now. It's been that way for, I'd say, a good month or so. And nothing's changed, Richie. But, Richie, make sure that you're following. One Take Drew. Make sure that you're following. Kai. And I know that you're followed up. You're someone that's got to give me something to give me some pushback on, Kai. Kai, give me something that you want to see changed on here. What would you change? What you thinking on the Vikings for Wilt Chamberlain? I'm low on them because of the quarterback room. I like the rest of the roster except for what they have at quarterback in Minnesota currently, which is too bad because they had Sam Darnold in the building. Would you consider starting a YouTube football show with a co-host? I mean, I could turn this into, a show with the co-host at some point, down the line. Celeste, I am a Bears fan because my mom, a lot of my family is from Chicago. I've been going there my whole life. I mean, ideally, in not too long a time, I'll be able to add a co-host and make content with somebody on here. And so for my longer lives during the season, my previews, my predictions, I've got someone to talk about. You kind of look like my Jewish grandma Patty. I miss her. Well, Jim, I appreciate you sharing that. I'm Jewish as well, so there you go. No wonder I look like your Jewish grandma. I love where the comment section goes sometimes. No one actually likes the Bears. They just like white knuckle it because they love Chicago. I would disagree. I live in Los Angeles, and I still am a diehard Bears fan. No way Lions are in the front of the Packers from Dog Edits. They are going to be for me right now. I got so much darn faith in what they have, what they work with offensively and their weapons. Defense is going to get Branch and Joseph back from Mika. Pats are the only team going to the Super Bowl this season from Mika. Don't know exactly. I just would assume that we've got some positivity around New England with that comment. Packers are slept on. They are, but let's understand here. The Packers are slept on for a reason because they've got a lot of injuries that they need to see those guys get back and what they look like. Like, is Micah the same guy? Probably will be, but we don't know for sure. Tucker Kraft, Devontae Wyatt, is Josh Jacobs stand up the rest of the way? Like, we can all agree on one thing: the Jets ain't doing nothing next year. I'll agree with that through and through. I got you. From Richie, Jags are contenders. Yeah, it was tough for me I moved Jacksonville and Baltimore actually down last night. I moved him down from Daniel Wright. Tighten up. Yeah, I'm a big Anthony Hill Jr. guy. I had him in my top 25. Same thing with Keldrick Falk, and they got both those guys outside of the top 30. The first game that I went to, which sport, Celeste? Are we talking football? Or are we talking just sports in general? First, what's going on, La Cosa Nostra? How we doing? Ravens Cowboys Super Bowl. That's the first time I've seen that. Can't say I wouldn't be too mad about it. That'd be probably a fun one. From Honorary BC, move Texans down. I'm curious why we'd want to see Houston move down there. Bengals Lions. Okay. I know that we've got a couple of other fans in Ohio and Michigan that would have intrigue on Cincinnati, and a couple of Ohio and Michigan squads getting together with it. Week 3 preview. Yeah, I could pull up the schedule, look at a couple. Rams Broncos, we like that one from Brazil. Hello to Ray PYME. We're almost word for word on takes from Easy Truth. Let's go. That's always interesting and fun to see. There's a lot of people out there. That's what's fun about community, is you wind up finding how many people share opinions with you. Dime, relax, and get back. That week 5 going to be our first test for Chicago. Week 5. Yeah. I don't see any lies detected there. You got Green Bay at Lambeau, right? So I'd agree. Put the Browns over the Colts. Kendall, it's a good question. I've got the Ravens a little bit lower. Cardinal season tickets for $400. I guess there's a lot of negativity on them this year. The Ravens, I couldn't put them over Pittsburgh. I know that Baltimore's got a higher ceiling, but how can I put Baltimore over them with the acquisitions that Pittsburgh's made this offseason? Really like what they've done. I'm a big fan of Vihonicher on the right side of the offensive line. Jeremy Bernard's an awesome player, very smart kid. He's gonna fit in with Aaron Rodgers. Awesome this year. They're going to have a great connection. It's going to be like Jordy Nelson and Aaron. Very similar to that. Jags contenders from Jonathan. Yeah, we missed out on that a little bit there for you. But again, the Ravens were the toughest team for me to not put in there. But Jonathan, Kendall, the random, Izzy, what's going on? All you guys, make sure that you're followed up. Put the Dolphins over the Colts. Got to remember here, if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, let's hold off on that. This is the year that we are really bad, and we continue to add in key pieces to our team. Blue chip recruits, blue chip players. Not recruits, but draft pieces. USC, do the Dart speech will affect the locker room? It could. It potentially could. Politics shouldn't come in, but it's possible. Obviously not the best look that Abdul Carter, also the first round pick. I don't know why they make it on social media. Those guys got to get together on the phone or in person and talk. I don't know. That was weird to me from Abdul Carter that he would just put that on social media. Anyone agree with that? Like, why are we putting this on social media? We're teammates. We came in together. Like, I'd rather just see handle that behind closed doors than let people in. Yeah, exactly. I agree. Maybe he wants to get traded. Just call me Dennis. Top is good. Super Bowl or bust is good. Can you guys see the text in here? Maybe it's a little bit tough to see. I could have possibly zoomed in a little bit there. Can you guys see the categories? We got Super Bowl or bust all the way down to with the first pick. I'm sorry about that. Just call me Dennis. The text is cut off. Oh, I can see it on. All I see is first. That's so interesting that it's different than the way it comes up for me. I guess that makes sense though. I apologize about that, guys. I thought that you would see it fun. You putting the Browns, the playoffs looks like yachts. Interesting. So weird because like I have it pulled up right now on here. I don't even think you guys can see that, but it shows the entire screen. That's interesting. Titans lower. Oh, from Ryan, you're on your phone. You can see it all. Yeah, maybe it's just for certain people. It's possible. Thank you for the input, though, Ryan. I appreciate that. Yeah, I guess it just could be depending on different people's phones. Maybe. Who cares? It's only in the United States, all around the world. People know. Oh, we don't have a soccer individual in the chat calling out our football people. We can't be having that. We can't be having that now. We're here to talk NFL football. What's going on, Bled Boys? 69. What's going on? How we doing? I think we're back. You could be. They could be this year. I just want to know why Browns over Miami. Well, Alosha's world, it was what their GM, John Eric Sullivan, did. It was his decision. Like, let's gut this roster. Let's build it up from the foundation here with the draft and get a little bit younger. Get rid of, Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and let's get rid of Tua and build towards the future. So simply put, like, Cleveland right now has just simply a better roster, right? Like, that's the GM has literally talked about why they went that direction. Broncos should be higher. So is that where they're at? I mean, DK, if you're a Denver fan, like, tell me, are you disappointed if the Broncos get to the Super Bowl but lose that game? Like, just talking about, obviously in the moment you'll be devastated, but like, would you consider that a disappointing season next year? So for you, like, if they get to this, anything but getting to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl is a bad season, DK. I think they have the best roster in the AFC, like right up there with Houston. You think they have a better team than Houston, or do you think that they've got a roster that's competitive, but Stroud is just not as good as Bo? Yeah, I mean, that's a sentiment that I haven't heard a ton of, but that's good to hear. I mean, I'll be able to share that, and now I can compile that to my data. I mean, that's why I do this and get on here, is to hear from fans. So I appreciate you. Thank you for adding that. But DK, Losia, Bleboy, all you guys, make sure that you're following. Thank you for being in here, just chatting football, and we're gonna be here for a couple of hours, just talking power rankings, talking schedule, college football as well, all for next year. I've been a Seahawks fan since I've been 8, but our last Super Bowl was 100% a fluke. Well, so Peace, I think that you guys had a great defense. Each of the last 3 years in college football, the national title's gone to a top 2 defense. Like Michigan was 1, Ohio State was 1, Indiana was 2. Same thing goes for the NFL. Chiefs were number 2 3 years ago. Eagles are number 2. Seattle was number 1 this past year. But to your point, over the last 2 seasons, there's only been one team that's made the playoffs that was in the bottom 10 in turnovers, and that was actually the Seattle Seahawks. They were the only team out of 20 that's been bottom 10 in turnovers over the last 2 years to even just make the postseason. And they won the Super Bowl. So a lot of people were like, I don't know what it is about Seattle, but I just don't think they're very good. Like, that's it. That's when I found that stat. I was like, all right, we're going to do a big red circle around that, because that's exactly what it is. You just don't see great football teams struggle in the turnover margin like they did last year. And that's why it felt like a fluke, if that makes sense. Peace. And let me know what you think about that. If you honestly think it's still something else besides that. Personally, that's how I felt. You could probably put a tier between contenders and Super Bowl or bust. Yep, that from Tucky, I know I do. And we're going live about it for the next 5 hours. Talking about football for the next 5 hours. You could probably put a tier between contenders. Yeah, from B Don. I could. What would we call that tier? I'm just curious. What would you want to call it? Like playoff locks before contenders, or division winners category, maybe? Conference champ or bust. So I guess that's what, two more teams, or I guess you could put in four teams in that category, right? Browns aren't rebuilding, so Eric, we're saying that they're a little bit more advanced. I could buy it. I still got the question on quarterback for them. Like I know that Tennessee, the Giants got quarterback solidified. New Orleans appears to. So that's right now where I've got them still in rebuilding. But one team that I could see that competes for a playoff spot that was not great last year. I could see it being Cleveland. Broncos. Where you see the Broncos next year? I got the Broncos going 11-6, competing for the title once again. But Eric, B Don, Peace 269. All you guys, make sure that you're following. Appreciate y'all on TikTok if you're still in here. Let me know what other things that you would change, or what you don't like, or anything that you want to talk about football related. Let's get into it. Let's have a conversation on this beautiful Memorial Day. But Eric, I know what you mean with Cleveland. I mean, they had by far and wide to me the best draft. They had an A+ draft. Did an unbelievable job. JR, Bucks fan. Bucks going to be better next season. Bucks going to, yeah, I mean, I'm big on Scott and Bain. I'm excited about them. As an Ohio State fan, I love me Emeka Egbuka. I love this kid. The question is, can he turn into a true number one? It's a valid concern. It's a valid question about whether he can. From Jordizzle, I think Saints could be a sleeper playoff team. I'm with you, Jordizzle. And that's why there's, you can see it to believe it. Because it's not innate, pure, just vibrating confidence that enters you with New Orleans. You still got hesitations. Like Oscar Delp comes in, very talented tight end, running up the seam, and Jordan Tyson now, and Olave is a fun duo that could be one of the best, if not the best, in football potentially. Tyler Shuck showed improvements, but then again, losing two defensive captains in Cam Jordan and Demario Davis, been there the last decade. That's a significant culture shock and identity shift and questions that get brought up because of that. Seahawks being Super Bowl or bust after winning the Super Bowl last year is kind of hilarious. So, Dylan, I know what you mean there, but this is based on the expectation. Like, to their fans, they're disappointed if they don't win the Super Bowl again next year because they just won it. You know, the expectation for Mike McDonald is another Super Bowl, and that's where they're currently at, right? To everybody else, like, yeah, they go 11-6, win a playoff game, and that's successful. Solidify yourself to keep competing. Cyrus, thank you for being in here. Let me know if you got any questions, Cyrus. Ravens should be contenders. I had Ravens in contenders for the last month, but it just felt a bit tough. JMO, bro, what's going on? Just having them above Pittsburgh, who was in the playoffs, obviously, over them last year, above Jacksonville, above Carolina, when they didn't make it a year ago. And we're going to have questions about what Lamar looks like next year. They've been a top 8 rushing offense in football. Ev on top, I am not Christian. I'm Jewish. To answer that question. Big Trust. Yeah, they've been top 3 in rushing yards each of the last 8 seasons. So, did something change without Harbaugh? But I appreciate Agent Yellow. Agent Yellow, make sure you're following. Cyrus, make sure you're following. Dylan, All you guys appreciate y'all for being in here. Jordizzle, make sure that you're followed up here on TikTok. Hoping to see Quinn Ewers a bit. Shout out fellow Jew from Avery. Fellow Jew, gotta support each other, right, Avery? Avery Weinstein. And Texas Longhorn football fan. Just checking out the profile right here. So we got Texas Longhorn fan. A Pisces birthday. So what's the birthday? On March 2nd. March 2nd birthday. So Pisces, probably like March 14th, something like that. Texas Longhorns, though, have a heck of a football team. Quite excited about what they're going to look like next year with Arch Manning. Aquarius Pisces, I unfortunately, I don't know too much about it. I don't know all that much about it, but from what I do know is there are those that are quite passionate about their football, and there are those that are quite passionate about their star signs. Don't sleep on the Falcons from Hesselhoff. Browns like football. I think put Seahawks down. Seahawks lost a lot of their key players, moved them down. Put the Packers with the Dolphins from Luther Burden. We got a Bears fan in the chat. You're looking at a diehard Bears fan. Please make sure you do so. January 30th. What? Oh, wait. So you can lead with Pisces even though it's not in that date? Very interesting. Funny that the two Super Bowl contenders are in the same division from Derek. I know. That's just how it is with the two best teams in football right now. And what it looks like. What's going on, Lucas? Same thing as always, my guy. The grind to 10K. Even on Memorial Day, we got to be ripping. Seahawks returning 92% of starters and key players. People have made it out that they lost a lot more than I think that there should be chatter about. They're still looking really good. They're still looking great. And Sam Darnold, if he cuts down on turnovers, there's a possibility that they can be exactly just as good as they were a year ago. Only team in the last 2 years that's been bottom 10 in turnovers and has made the playoffs. Dolphins are miles ahead of the Cardinals from Arctic Nick. Arctic, you know I got to hit you with this. Would you rather, Arctic Nick, go 7-10 next year, go 7-10, or go 4-13 and have Jeremiah Smith on your roster in 2027? Let me know. What would you rather have? 7-10, 12th overall pick in the draft, or Jeremiah Smith comes back to the 305. Let me know what you think. Either way, I'd be curious. The Dolphins the Bills. Beat the Bills last year. What do you mean from Mellon? It's not the same Dolphins team. Appreciate you. Thank you, Avery, for sending the capybara. I appreciate that. Arctic Nick, give me an answer here. You're making me. Well, here we go. I mean, I'd rather go 0-17, but if we weren't tanking, we'd smash the Cardinals. Sounds to me like you'd rather have Jeremiah Smith. It really does. And I would too. But no, I know what you mean. It's just John Eric Sullivan. The GM has made it clear that the purpose of this team this season is to have a couple of pieces around Malik Willis. Like, that's why they went offensive line. And I see a delusional Steelers fan with that comment. Better than the Packers. It's obvious. Couple of comeback wins. I don't know if they were dominant against Green Bay last year, but those were 3 of the best football games of the year, only outdone by the Rams and Seattle, honestly. Allen with DJ Moore is going to be good from Not Thaddeus. I agree with you. And then Broncos better than Seattle? Ben, it is power rankings, but also let's remember here, the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. Their expectation is Super Bowl or anything else but that is a disappointment, just like the Rams. My team is the Chicago Bears from, is it Marie? But Marie, Derek, Not Thaddeus, Blade, Mike, Arctic Nick, Melon, all you guys, make sure that you're following. I appreciate all of you. Callan, Freddy, Avery sent Galaxy. Thank you so much, Avery. I appreciate it. Thank you for sending the love. I appreciate that and helping the stream keep firing. The edit wasn't the best quality because I couldn't find too much camera quality clips. That's fine. I honestly think that a Pat Tillman edit camera quality doesn't have to be anything, and it's gonna be nice. Jack's Demand, what's going on? Slamming, what do you not like about the Chicago Bears? What would you say? Because I would disagree on that. I would fully disagree. Packers ain't a contender. The question is if they're making the playoffs. That's the thing, though, folks, and a lot of you guys would agree. Like, when I see comments like that about Chicago, like, it's just tough to take it fully seriously. If you know what I mean? Like, the moves that they've been making, the direction, the quarterback now that they have paired with the coach, like, they're just in a position currently that they haven't been in a long time. MN Sports Fan 74, what's going on? And Luther Burden says switch Packers with the Jags, so take them out of there. Do you think the Steelers will make the playoffs next year? Yeah, well, from Josh, make a new tier for the Colts, name it mid till GM is fired. From Josh. That's a good one. I like Seattle, especially Byron Murphy. He's also a former Texas Longhorn. Yeah, there you go. Avery, did you go to Texas? What's going on, Unique Prods? Hello, Bears fan here. Yep. Yeah, I'm a diehard Bears fan. We got a bunch of diehard Bears fans on the YouTube right now. I don't know if we have any on TikTok right now, but I'd assume, Avery, that you did go there. Eddie Spaghetti, what's going on? Appreciate you being in here. Z, Showtime, Andre, Melon. Let me know, guys. Any questions that you have or things that you would change. Dad and sister did. I went to Texas dive camp. Never went to college. Ain't nothing wrong with not going to college. It's a lot of very smart, successful, good people, more importantly. Good humans, good people that didn't make it to school and have an education. At the highest level, that is. The question is, the Bears are going to make it past the wild card from Elijah's. I think the expectation from Bears fans is to win another playoff game this year. Not necessarily like, do they have to get to the title game? I think a lot would love it, but they kind of just want to make sure they solidify themselves as a power in the NFC and in the division, right? The Ravens aren't doing very good because the Giants took most of their players. Isaiah Likely. Cowboys winning the division from a wild baby hippo. Okay. If I had to pick a number 2 team to win the division, like after Philly, I would go with Dallas. Love what they've done. Direction that they've gone. Improve the defense. We think we're going to have a top 5 offense next year, so let's improve the defense. Started off with the run game. That's what every defensive coordinator talks about. We got to improve our run defense first. If we can't stop the run, we're nothing. And they're living by that right now. Kenny Clark, Quinnen Williams in the middle, Lawrence, and they brought in Barham. I love what they did. Have to tell you. You excited for Kobe Durant and Dylan Thieneman? Man, I'm starting to get very excited about this Bears defense. Now, I'm managing my expectations. Of course, you got to do that, as always. But Dylan Thieneman, to me, looks like he could be the single best Chicago Bears safety of all time. You know, I know there's been some greats like Gary Fensick. What going on from Balloon? Bolts up. You know what? You know what's going on. I am too fine. We're very excited about what the Chargers are going to be next year with the two offensive tackles healthy. I got Herbert winning MVP. I've got Texans Chargers in the AFC title game. That's the prediction as of right now. How am I feeling about Scadaboo? I still feel like they need a little bit of help. Another guy to carry the load though there for the Giants opposite of him. Like it's been all on his plate. Do I really like Tracy or Singletary enough? Like I don't. He's cool. He has CTE already though. I know that's been talked about a lot with Cam. From Spencer saying lower the Bears. Curious why you would think. And if I did lower the Bears, who would you move up instead of Chicago, Spencer? I think Luther going to have a breakout season. Same with Loveland. And is it possible that Odunze? To be honest, I would prefer to see Rome Odunze have a massive season. Of anybody, obviously, that's not the quarterback. I want to see Rome. 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. Just, all right, we know what this guy is. Because otherwise, like, the fifth-year option needs to be decided next offseason. Saints and Panthers swap. Personally, I think that the Jaguars will prove. Dolphins go 1-16. And La Jacks. We gotta obviously get on the same page here. 1-16. That leads to Jeremiah Smith for Miami. No, it's not exactly the worst thing in the world. If him unique prod's gotta go. Bear down, baby. Have a good day to you as well. Be safe out there. Have a great rest of your Memorial Day. LG, what's happening? Good to see you. Chiefs Jaguars swap. Yeah, I mean the Jaguars did beat the Chiefs last year, right? They might try and take, especially with no wide receivers. Yep. To me, that seems to be a bit smarter. Wish me luck on my parlay. Good luck with your parlay. But I got you. Yeah, Jaguars also higher. I could see it. It's just there's so many good teams, right? There's so many very talented teams. It's tough to rank them all. That's why this exercise is so much fun to do. But Brandon, S, Luke, LaJax, 414 Spencer, all you guys, if you haven't already, please make sure that you're following on TikTok. Appreciate you. From Colton Bauer, I'm not mad at this list at all. Colton, thank you for the love. Appreciate the follow on there. Colton, what would you change, though? Let me know. If there's something specific here that you would bring somebody up that's a little lower than you think, someone down, that's up high, what would you change, Colton? I'm curious. Knicks are winning this game, God willingly. I love everything. Just Chiefs should be lower. So questions about Patrick Mahomes. And then Juke, Cowboys are never going to the playoffs. I'm hoping Golden will ball out this year for Green Bay. Avery, so are you also a Packer fan? Oh, no. You're just Texas. You just want to see the Matthew Golden experience and that ride go well there for the Packers with him. I understand it. I gotcha. From Mark, Raiders need to be moved up from JMO, bro. I'm a Bears fan. Diehard Bears fan and Ohio State Buckeyes for football. Oh, my family. Okay. House in Wisconsin. That makes sense. Denver, Super Bowl or bust. All this talk of them going if Bo doesn't break his ankle. Okay, yes, I can see it. Yeah. Don't got to twist my arm there. You certainly don't. They've led the league in sacks the last 2 years. Ravens had a bad year last year, but you don't think Lamar, with a fresh start, isn't a contender? Look, is it Elwin? We'll call you O'Reilly for the purposes of this. Got to make sure that we're talking to you here. Look, they've had a top 3 rushing offense each of the last 8 years statistically. If you guys want to fact check me on some of the stats, please go ahead and do so. If you figure I'm wrong, put it in the chat, expose me. But I am a little curious about them retaining that dominant, explosive run game without Harbaugh. Are they able to keep up at that pace? I got a question about that. Kyle with a funny comment there in the chat. I always like it to see it, Kyle. I got no issues with a different take being in here. But I know that you don't believe the Dolphins are contenders, man. Don't go too silly. Don't take the green pill too often. It's okay to take the red or the blue, but the green pill can sometimes make things a bit too interesting. NFL, I miss old school football from Isaiah Kelly. From Slinger Smith, put the Ravens higher. I mean, man, I had the Ravens up there last night. They are a contender, though. Let's be honest, folks. We can put the Ravens as contenders. You don't even have to pull my arm a single inch. I truly believe that they are. You know? Lamar, Derrick Henry. I mean, are you kidding me with this kid they bring in, Zion Young? We get Matabike back healthy. Roquan Smith still one of the best linebackers in all of football. And Kyle Hamilton is the best safety in the league. Questions still remain about Marlon Humphrey, but I'm a big Nate Wiggins guy. Anyone else? What can? What's happening? Good to see you in here. We have no idea how the Ravens are going to turn out. Do not be sold on them. From Colton. Colton's throwing it at you. What are we going to do? That's what I've been saying, but put them up. Let's see here. Here we go. It could be the next show. Interesting take. The Bears. Wait, F the Bears. Go Packers. All right, there you go, my man. There you have it. What do you think? There you go, Slinger. You've got it. Without a doubt. Now it's up to your part of the bargain here. Now it's up to you to hold up your end. I held up my end. Now let's see you hold up your end. I mean, I've always liked Baltimore my whole life. How can you not? Black and blue division, T-Sizzle, Ray Lewis, some iconic guys through there. It's a crime for the Ravens not. They should be contenders. Well, that's why they're. He's not guaranteed to be a good head coach. Good head coaches are hard to find, man. It's true. For Colton, I sound like a hater. Do you think the chatter of Bears moving is legit? They're going to move somewhere. I don't know if it's to Indiana, though. Right? I don't think it's to Indiana of where they're going to go. They got to keep that team in Illinois. I think that was a little bit of them. It's not like blackmail, but it's like, hey, we're serious about it, about moving. Slinger Smith, are you? I haven't seen anything pop up yet, my guy. Have we pulled the trigger? Just got to make sure we're holding up to our end of things. I think it's because I live in Texas, but I don't hate the Bears yet like the Packers. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, I get it. If you're not a diehard, it's more of a family thing. I get it. That makes sense. What about Malik Neighbors from JMO? What about Malik Neighbors? One of the best 10 receivers in the NFL. I love Malik Neighbors. What does see it to believe it mean? I got to see the game, but first, before I put him into a team, that could potentially be a playoff team next year? That's a good question. From one Zeri, one Xery. That's what I'm thinking. I just think he can't get hurt. He's got to stay healthy. Yeah, see it to believe it's like you're a team like the New York Giants, where it's like, all right, we got talented neighbors. We got Arvell Reese now, Abdul Carter, and we replaced a little bit of the production there in Dexter Lawrence. But we got to see what they look like against the Cowboys week 1. Can they stop the run a little bit better? Remember, they've been bottom 5 against the run, or bottom 8 against the run each of the last 4 years. It's not exactly good. So they need to step it up in that. I got to see what they look like. That's what I need to see personally. Yeah, I got you. And one Xery, make sure that you're following Eagles, Matt. Just taking every decent team and putting them in contenders. No, I would say decent teams are the Jaguars, Pittsburgh, Carolina. Those are all decent teams. They're not over Dylan. They're not over them. I've got the Texans above Green Bay on my power rankings. I've got Green Bay at, I think, 13, and Houston's at 8 or 9. And then Chicago's at like 9, 10. No, I got Houston, to me, Will Anderson Jr., Defensive Player of the Year. I've got them going to I got them going to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl Rams Texans is my pick. So, no, I don't got Green Bay higher than them. Bill Clinton was ready to catch who? Oh, Jerry almost fell off the stage. My goodness, man. Yeah. You don't really see a billionaire get move like that too often. Just like look frazzled. But I guess a former president will do that to you, huh? That was almost an absolutely awful scene. Thank you for being realistic about Washington. You got it, TLL. I got you. I don't see the Patriots contending again, but TLL, make sure that you're following. Austin. Okay, so we got a bit of love here. Cal and Freddie, thank you for doing what you're doing, my man. I appreciate you. But Austin, Jaden, all you guys, if you haven't subbed on YouTube, please make sure you do so on TikTok. I appreciate all you guys for being here today. Just chatting ball. San Francisco over New England. I can see it, Sertan Glazer. I can see it. Without a doubt. Of course. I got you at the take. Move up 49ers to the Chiefs. Oh, let's see what we got here. I think this list. There we go. How's that? How do we think about that one? Eagles fan production. What do we think about it now? My home team? I'm in LA. The home team would be the Chargers and the Rams, but I am a Bears fan. I am a diehard Chicago fan. Now, do you see San Francisco's up there? You see where the 49ers are now? What do we think about that? What do we got here? We got Jaden saying that the Patriots won't contend again. Julian is in the chat. Repaid Tiger. Good to see everybody. Yeah, Sertan Glazer. This is how it would go. I mean, Seattle won. They're Super Bowl champs. Rams 2. Broncos, Bills there. You might be a little bit surprised they got the Lions up there so high, but a big J-Mo Amon-Ra duo guy. And Jared Goff actually leads the league in yards passing and touchdowns. Not like in the individual season, but over the last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years combined, he's the guy. He leads it all. From Nick, Raiders too low. They improved massively. And I hear you, Nick. I'm just curious what the quarterback situation is there with Cousins and Mendoza, what materializes. And could they be a see it to believe it team? They absolutely could be in that category because they've got quarterback solidified. But also, I did want to see them go get a wide receiver. Nick, no, they improved. Remember who had the worst record last year? Yeah, Brendan, you're making the argument there for me. I know that they improved a lot, but to go from they're still rebuilding. Like they still need a number one wide receiver. I know you got Bowers, who's the best tight end in football, but you still need a number one wideout. But no, I'm with you there. Well, Brendan, DJN253, Nick, make sure that you're following, guys. I appreciate the comments. Voodoo SMC, what's going on? Raiders improving equals they still suck. It's an interesting. It's a respectful way to say it, obviously. It could be bottom of the barrel if you wanted it to be. But rebuilding is just a nicer, more optimistic slant on things, to be honest, is why I have that category. Because that's what my show is, a Blitz with Blender. Why the Saints so low? I mean, see it to believe it, right? Like, see it to believe it as a team that could get into that playoffs category easily by October. They start off the season hot. But remember, the Saints' schedule, don't they play Baltimore and then Detroit? Or is it Detroit then Baltimore to start the year? From Darren Petaway, that's what I'm saying with Detroit. Brought in Blake Miller, opposite of Sewell now. Denver moved up, Dom. Yeah, the Broncos are in a position now. They sure are, Dom. Yeah, I've got them high. I mean, look, Jalen Waddle and Sutton. That's going to be one of the best 5 duos in football now. What do you think about the Dolphins? Wrong answers only. I think the Dolphins are going to be adding number 4 from the Ohio State Buckeyes in the 2027 draft. Good list. Only thing I would do is put the Packers over the Chiefs and Eagles. I think that some Eagles fans would give a little bit of pushback because they beat Green Bay last year. I know this is a list about next year, not last year. I appreciate the capybara eating a pizza. Thank you, Avery. Thank you very much. I appreciate the love there. Cardinals, Finns, swap from Ron. We got Eagles fan productions, though, saying to you, Packers fan, that the Eagles should stay above Green Bay. So he's giving you some pushback. Put a playoff lock category because there is less contenders, I think. So what would we do? So playoff lock category, I'd go Buffalo. I would probably go New England, Detroit, and Denver's tough for me to say a playoff lock. But yeah, we're evolving this. We're just trying to make it better. Got to support each other. It is tough out here. It absolutely is. So that's what I think we would make. I mean, I can even start making the next one. You know what I mean? I can start making the next one for the next stream. So you're thinking, obviously, the Rams, Seattle up there at the top. Do you think there's a chance the Bears regress in 1-score games? They absolutely can, but they can get a lot better in 2-score games. Right, just winning games more outright, easier, and not being in tight games. Look at Avery. Just reached fan level 2 in my fan club. How about that? That's awesome. So they can get worse in 1-score games, but they can get better being a more complete team. I think 3 NFC North teams can win the Super Bowl. I fully agree with you. I agree too. And I think 3 NFC West teams can win the Super Bowl next year. You're gonna, like, San Francisco is the one that you would have questions about, but like if they're healthy, that same squad was 1/4-1 from beating the Chiefs a few years ago. The Bears can only go up, I think, from off-topic gang. So would you call them a playoff lock? I think Chiefs go right back to the top from Arizona, Scott. If Mahomes is back to his self, I would be surprised to see it. Browns could take a jump. You wouldn't imagine that Burrow and Lamar both have significant injuries hampering them next year. And that's what was an opportunity for Pittsburgh a season ago, which is why I'm a bit lower on them. But for Cleveland, it's a win-win next year. Let's be honest, folks, for the Browns. If the Browns go 7-10, 8-9, whatever, competing for a playoffs, JMO, no worries. Go take your shower. Go take your shower. No worries. Look, if they're competing for a playoff spot with it's Shador Watson at quarterback, okay. There you go. Now we know that we can roll with that guy in 2027. And let's add another edge rusher on defense. Let's add another corner opposite of Denzel Ward. Let's bring in another wide receiver to add to that core. There's a lot of options that they can roll with. Or they're really bad again. They go 5-12. Okay, let's roll. Let's get our quarterback of the future. 2027 draft. Here we go. Let's take our quarterback. But I don't know what you guys are at currently on this. But to me, the 2027 draft's not incredible in the sense of, man, we've got Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and Caleb Williams. Like, I don't think anyone's on that level. I don't think any of these quarterbacks next year are as good as any of those three. But the depth of this class, like 2024 in that draft, I think that we've got the depth of this class with the Mayabas, Lenore Sellers, Josh Hoover. We've got all of those guys. Matthew Caldwell could surprise people. I just don't think he didn't Matthew Caldwell come in that game? Was it against Florida last year, Avery? I want to say. Just got signed by the Rams, right? Undrafted. Mississippi State. So when Arch got hurt, he came in the Mississippi State game. When Arch came out. Off-topic gang with some smiley faces. I think Dante Moore will be a head case. Arch Manning has a low floor, and the others could just have low potential from Surtain Glazer. Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, from that sense, you're saying that it can be someone else. From Steady, holy shit, it's Daniel Jones. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to $42.5 million a season. I gotta tell you, what is the best games of round one or preseason from UK? Don't really understand. From K1 Chefs. What is the appreciate the rose? Thank you for sending, Christian. Thank you, appreciate it. Wait, the best games of round one or preseason? I don't know what that's in reference to, K1. Are we talking about the NFL preseason or week one of the NFL? Just clarify. I'll get into it if that's towards me. Off-topic gang, all in fun. Just giving the Eagles fans some troll sauce. The NFL, week one. I mean, you got 49ers, Rams in Melbourne, right? You've got Seahawks, Patriots, a Super Bowl rematch to open off the season. Cowboys, Giants. The Broncos play at the Chiefs on Monday night. There's a lot of really good matchups. For Avery, for college, there's a week 0. Not for the NFL, though. The NFL just has preseason. There's no week 0. Explain the Panthers' take from Ace and why they're playoffs. Yeah, I've got Carolina in that category because this is the weakest division in football, if we're being honest, for the NFC South. It's compressed right there in the middle. You got a bunch of teams that could be 9-8, 8-9, 7-10. But Carolina bringing in Devin Lloyd, Jalen Phillips, they add Chris Brazzell, they add Lee Hunter, and then Monroe Freeling. I'm fired up about what Carolina is going to be. But at the end of the day, it's just a quarterback-driven league. Everyone talks about it. And I've got questions about Young, right? I've got questions about Bryce Young still. It's about the consistency. So thank you for believing my Lions. This got to be their years. I got you, JJ, without a doubt. And JJ, K1 Sheds, Ace, make sure that you're following guys here on TikTok. Ace and JJ, make sure you guys are followed up. And I hope that answers the question about Carolina and how I feel about them. Good draft, very good offseason, and an opportunity within a weak division to make some hay. We are going to make a quick little adjustment here, folks. I need to charge up. This device because it is running low on juice. Not gonna lie, I'm a lot newer to the NFL community. Yeah, no, I got you, Avery. It's an interesting place. It is a lot like college football, but I would say in general the average fan is, I don't know what, a little bit older, obviously, than the NFL community. Let's see here. Trying to get this charger in to. All right, there we go. We're charged up, fueled by Apple products on the charger. Know a lot more about college. Yeah, you're 28. My main demographic, I believe, is like 48. For people that watch stuff. What do we got here on you? Saints and Bucks gonna smash Carolina. From Blake Long, 8503. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa Bay ascends next year with Baker. They started off last year, 6-2? They look great. Got pounded into the turf at Ford Field by the Lions, and they got eviscerated by the Rams on Sunday night. So, Jadarian Price, question mark. What are we asking there? Is Jadarian Price going to be more value than Jeremiah Love this year? Are you asking me for a take, or what's the exact specifics on that? They lost Mike, though. JJ, in reference, sorry, I didn't catch that part. Who? Austin Pletcher, what's going on? User 747264. What's happening? Good to see you in here. Blake? Panthers are 100% winning there. I need to stop yelling at teenagers, though. The screen at my age. Oh, I'm going to be yelling at teenagers until the day I die. Don't care what age I am. I'm going to be yelling my butt off at these 18, 19-year-old kids in college. I do not care. I'm one of those that know what I am. I know that to some it may be a problem that I spend my life just watching football, talking about it every single day, but I would love nothing more. My goodness. Even at DKR. I mean, it's as good as it gets down there. I'm thinking about going to that Ohio State-Texas game. You know I got to be thinking about going to that one. I just joined. I know you asked a lot, but who's winning the 2027 Super Bowl? So I've got the Rams. I know that it's chalk, as the kids say, to go with that selection there, but they got a complete team. They bring in McDuffie, as good as it gets as a wide receiver duo. Kyren Williams has been a top 8 back in the league. I believe he's 3rd in total touchdowns over the last 3 seasons. And defensively now, up front, they're as good as it gets. The supposed NFL script, I haven't heard anything about it. What's going on with that? I've not seen any of it. It's going to be the Lions from JJ. Look, I've got the Rams and the Lions in the NFC Championship game. That's my prediction. The picture made before the Super Bowl. It's tough always to make out the colors, though, because I've seen that, and then people say it's like, oh, it's that color, but it's like, hey, was that exactly what it looked like before? It could have been interpreted as somebody else. I don't know. Personally, I just look at the ball, and that's what I lead into instead of things like that. But if people People are into star signs. People are into reading tea leaves. People are into uh, Zoltar. People got their different ways to read into things and they believe. I'm not. Who am I to be to judge someone on the way that they view the world, right? And obviously religion. People are very religious about things and how they live their life. No, the one with Drake, people be inverting the colors thinking they figured it out. I know. It's wild. But there ain't no script, folks. I know there's been some sneaky, like, oh, this is a little bit interesting here. But there's just too much craziness that happens. The double doink, please tell me that the double doink was scripted. How that can happen. Happy Memorial Day, Daniel Barry Rams officially 2722. Good to see you. What's going on? Looks like we got a Rams fan. Astrology is just fun, to be honest. That's it. Yeah, I mean you gotta have your own thing, right? Like whatever you have fun with. What's going on, Lucas? Good to see you back on in here. Drake May from JMO Bro 25. It's no, it has Drake May and Sam Darnold in the front, and behind them Malik Neighbors and Cam Ward. Yeah, that is. Bro keeps it all ball. I know. I don't really do a lot of tomfoolery. That's a good call out off drop it, gang. I really don't. Black Hole Fitness. What's going on? Anything about the list here that you would change potentially? Good to have you in here. Anything you'd move somebody down, you'd move somebody up. Whatever you got. Feel free to. I always tell people, feel free to let loose. You got something you disagree with, you got to voice it. I want to hear the criticisms, the critiques, and everything. It just makes us understand different perspectives a little better. From Nick Curtis, contenders and playoff teams should be oppo balanced. So you're saying that they should be more balanced? That they should be like both the same amount of teams? Is that what you're saying, Nick? Because I believe contenders right now has 11. So you're saying that there should be 2 less and then 2 more in the playoffs category? Yeah, people do have crazy conspiracy theories, Avery. To me, it's however you want to spend your time, right? If you want to spend your time on that, who am I to judge? Wait, less contenders, more playoffs. Yeah, we've heard that as well. I've also heard, Nick, that we can make this even better by doing a category between Super Bowl or bust and contenders, because there's just so many contenders right now that we do, 4 or 5 teams that are like playoff locks. Appreciate it off topic. I appreciate that, my man. Yeah, we got to throw in stuff, pop culture once in a while. I love movies a lot and talk about that, but really for the most part, like my favorite thing in the world to talk about is college NFL football. So that's what we run, and what else would we need to talk about? I know people are watching a basketball game right now, and look, if you want to be watching the NBA, I got no reason to stop you from watching that. They have a good product, but for us on Blitz with Blender, it is NFL college football 365. Ramey, Giants should be in the playoffs. Okay, I'm not quite there with you yet. Bills are Super Bowl or bust until Josh Allen retires. I could see it, Tyler. I without a doubt could agree with you there. But Ramey, Tyler, Nick, I Fear God 3. All you guys, make sure that you're following there on TikTok. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for being on here. Let me know what you got. Blake, Arujo, Mr. Monkey. What's going on, guys? What do we want to get into here? Same LA bruv, also in the chat. You think Manning? Yes, I do think that Arch is going to enter the league. I think he's going to have a big year. This is the same. I'm doing 2 streams right now, JMO bro. Yeah, I got YouTube up and I got TikTok, and we're talking to both chats. Of course I remember you, Egg Dude. Of course I do. Who do you think the AFC top three contenders? I'd go Chargers, Texans. Man, I like Bills and the Broncos a lot. Can I say four? Giants are not a playoff team from Ty. And then we got Petri Dish. We got Trade McFroggin. Ty joining the chat. What's going on, everybody? Saints going to the playoffs from Smoking Joe. No cap. Bryce Young, he doesn't like. I know they got to figure what they got at quarterback. Giants not a playoff team for next year. We don't think. I think Arch Manning is going to the Cardinals, the Jets, or the Browns, or the Cardinals, or the Cardinals, or I guess you could throw in the Dolphins, but that's tough for me. The Jets quarterback, if the Browns are in that position, okay, go quarterback. If the Cardinals go quarterback, but Miami, it's like you just brought in Malik Willis, Allen Iverson, Glazer. What is happening? It is great to have you in here on this glorious Memorial Day. Pat Bryant. I like Pat Bryant. I like Troy Franklin. That kid was unbelievable with Oregon back in 2023. Does everybody remember Troy Franklin and the Oregon Ducks in 23? That kid was incredible. 50-50 rack ability and just separating easily over the middle of the field. He was awesome. Yeah, Troy's been balling out. You got Pat Bryant there. We got Marvin Mims. You got Waddle and that's as deep as the receiving core goes in football. Ravens should be higher. Yeah. And what I think, Allen Iverson, Glazer, honestly, like I got to put a category that says like playoff locks. And then below that, we do contenders. And then below that, we've got playoffs, question mark, exclamation point to change it up and add it. J.K. Dobbins. J.K. all day, as Gus Johnson loved to throw in. J.K., Harvey, and Coleman. Jonah Coleman from Washington. Yeah, I mean, if people remember Troy Franklin, they probably remember him. I just scrolled down and looked at more streams, and they were all a bit boring compared to you right now from J-Mo, bro. I appreciate it. I was like, boring? What does that even mean? But boring. Yeah, I appreciate that. I try and just talk throughout the entire thing. Sometimes I scroll and like nobody's saying anything or they're not engaging with the chat. And I gotta be honest, like we just trade Moss for real. Our running back room's stacked, and Avery's just trying to learn. That's exactly what it's about. I'm trying to learn too, because what I was just saying about during the year, my lives are much different. I got to be honest here because I throw my content into my editor and he edits it, turns it into my long form videos on YouTube. So I'll throw up my phone, my camera, and we're recording. We'll be live on YouTube and TikTok during those recordings, but I won't be as interacting with the chat. It's kind of just like anybody's show that you'll watch where they're just doing their show, just like normal during the year. My YouTube channel is Blitz with Blender, Avery, just like on TikTok here. Blitz with Blender, same stuff. Nick, I'm a diehard Bears fan, diehard Ohio State. So that's what we'll be doing in the fall. So you could obviously have the choice if you want to like watch the breakdown previews live or just watch the long form content. I know everybody's got a team. Earlier in the season though, we're doing like every single game as it goes on for college in the NFL. We're going to limit it a little bit more, talk more about the teams that are doing better, and it goes down to 12, 11, 10, 9, 8 game previews. We make those videos a bit more in depth and longer. Cowboys and Irish. Yeah, a couple of good teams to cheer for. Is there any reason I'm an Ohio State fan? Yeah, I mean, I grew up, I got a lot of family in the Midwest. So the Buckeyes were always on when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. And there's just something about the Midwestern vibe, colder weather football, turn on and it's the game and there's snow coming down and it's hard-nosed football. A guy takes off his helmet and he's got half his nose off, there's just something about cold weather football and growing up around that. Austin, I got my worries about the wide receiver group for Green Bay. Not too much consistency. I have questions, definitely, though. JMO, the Ohio State Michigan game is it's the best rivalry in sports. And then number 2, I'd probably go Bears Packers. I know people will say like Red Sox Yankees, or they'll go soccer rivalries or hockey, but to me it's Bears Packers, Ohio State Michigan, interchangeably kind of 1-2. Maybe a little bit more hate dating back Ohio State Michigan, but Bears Packers is plenty of hate within it. And I like Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur having a little bit of just not liking each other, a little bit of sauce to that. That's what I like. That's the Mike Ditka days. That's the vibe that I like having. So Austin, what you're saying about Green Bay's wide receiver room? Sorry, I didn't get to that. I like me some Jahdae Barron in Texas. Avery will know all about Jahdae Barron. Is it Jahdae or Jahdae? Is actually my first question. Does anybody know? Is it Jahdae Barron? Like Ja? You'd say it like Ja, J-U-H, Day, like D-A-Y. It's Ja. Jahdae. Jahdae Barron. Okay. I've said it so many different ways, but I said Jahdae more than I said Jahdae. Jets 2 tiers lower, please. So the Jets are going to have a pick before the first pick in the 2027 NFL draft. At least your take's unique, Grungy Mungy. I like it for the Jets. Welcome in, Grungy Mungy. What's happening? Jahdae Barron. Now I know. From Tongue Shack is saying the Vikings are better than the Packers. I would disagree. As a Bears fan, just looking at those teams, like who would I rather play 3 times? I'd rather play Minnesota. I think that's a more winnable matchup. To win 2 of those, lose 1. I think it's more realistic that the Bears could lose 2 versus the Packers if they played 3 times. Maybe Texas will give up a touchdown this year in the Red River game to Oklahoma. John Mateer was playing with that broken hand, but he probably shouldn't have played the way that he was throwing the ball. It's funny because they went right down the field and kicked a field goal the first drive, and that was it. Like, their offense did not get anything going the rest of the game. I lived in Rhode Island for 4 years, and when the Tar Heels and Duke play, all the bars are packed with people in North Carolina. Duke gear. That's cool to see. I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome. It's funny, like, I watched, I think, every March Madness game, but I've watched, like, none of the NBA playoffs. Even the Game 7s. There's just something about March Madness that has this different feel to it than the corporate nature of what the NBA is. A bit more so. March Madness is just more entertaining. I don't know. Chicago is also 1 loss off from missing the playoffs. No, they weren't. They could have lost the game and been 10-7 and have also made the postseason last year. AZ betters. They could have been 10-7 and still gotten in. Because wasn't Green Bay 9-8-1 last year? Right? 10-7 is better than 9-8-1. If they lost to Minnesota, Green Bay, I mean, it's funny sometimes when I know I'm right, but I still got to go fact check myself. So the Packers were 9-7-1. If the Bears lost 1 more game, they would have been 10-7. 10-7 is better than 9-7-1. Right? So if they lost 1 more game, they would have still made the postseason. Green Bay was the 7th seed at 9-7-1. So you're saying that No, I know what you're saying. You're saying that the Vikings would have gotten in over the Bears based on a tiebreaker, but also like in that instance, remember Green Bay sat everybody the last game of the year. So that game could have been fully different, AZ. We can't fully do that apples to apples, right? And if Chicago wasn't locked into the playoffs, then they could have beat Detroit, could have beat San Francisco. The end of the season comes out a little bit differently there too. You know what I mean? Like, so the Bears could have lost to Minnesota, but like it in that world, it's possible they missed the postseason. But it's not true. Like, that's just exactly how it goes. Now looking back, sure, like, okay, the Vikings 10-7, they're in there. Denver, well, because then in that instance, Detroit is, yeah, that wouldn't exactly have, I don't think, gone on that way. But I appreciate you, and I don't even think you're still in the chat. I think you dipped. AZ Betters, you still in here? Denver getting back at Patriots. Man, they should have kicked the field goal. They should have kicked the field goal, and they were up 7-0. From Tay, keep pounding. Appreciate you. Yep, that's exactly. And Chicago Rams game was a movie. Brandon, I was there. Brandon, what are your thoughts on the Rams? I was at that Bears Rams game in the snow. It started snowing about 2 hours 15 minutes before the game at the tailgate. Snow started coming down and really didn't stop until last 5 minutes. Zach, I am a Bears fan. I'm a diehard Bears fan that lives in Los Angeles. I'm a Rams season ticket holder, but I am a diehard Chicago Bears fan in Ohio State. I think the Rams they're my Super Bowl pick next year. Zach with the bear down. I appreciate you, Zach. Zach, make sure that you're following my guy. I'm not biased in the sense of everything, but you know that we love our squad, man. I'm fired up about what the Bears are going to be next year. Ravens, Bears in the Super Bowl. I feel that Ravens should be contenders. It was very tough for me to have Baltimore out of that category. It was very tough. I had them in that category for a couple of weeks. In a month, of course I did. They've been a top 3 rushing offense each of the last 8 years. How could you not have them there? But it's just tough to put them over Pittsburgh, who got it a year ago, right? In that last game. It came down to a field goal. It was up to a field goal. I got Ravens, Bears, hopefully, in Brandon. Rams just paid $55 million to Stafford for 1 year. You need that Super Bowl. Absolutely do. Who you got for awards? I got Justin Herbert MVP, Will Anderson Jr. Defensive Player of the Year, Caleb Downs Rookie of the Year on defense, and then I've got Jadarian Price on offense. So Zach, why Jags on that tier? I mean, the Panthers are there too. Pittsburgh's on that tier also, and I think losing Devin Lloyd and Achane will be big for them. Offensive Player of the Year in the NFL, I got Gibbs. I got Jahmyr Gibbs. But Zach, Z-Boy, are the contenders in order or just a list? Contenders are in order. Yep. Contenders left to right for all of this. It's all in order. Yep. Good question. But Zach, Z-Boy, Bogdan, Brandon, Ozzy, all you guys, make sure that you're following, folks. Appreciate y'all for being in here. Make sure that you're followed up on TikTok. Great to have everybody here on Memorial Day. Awesome to see everyone. For me, Lamar or Caleb. JMO, bro, what's going on? Good to see you back. NBA ratings are down for a reason, but that's for another stream on someone else's channel. It definitely is. I can't speak to that. Philly and the Bills in the Super Bowl last year, when it was clear the Cowboys and the Chiefs wasn't getting it together. I got no issues with that. Not at all. We've got Giants should be in the playoffs from T Mars 54. And Brandon, as a Knicks fan, I'm turned that they're gonna. Yeah, they're what? They're up 3-0. They're gonna sweep that. To me, the Giants are a 7-10 team next year. They're gonna improve, but also there's, to me, a very big weakness in the secondary still. Like, they decided to not go Caleb Downs, and they went Maui Noah. To me, if they brought in Caleb Downs, it solidifies the secondary, but they had it in their mind, we want to solidify the offensive line for our young quarterback. I can't hate on it, but simply put, it's going to make their secondary not as good as it could have been with Downs. But Team R, Giants should be in the playoffs. I absolutely could see it. I could see it. It's tough for me to see it in that division that's very compressed with good teams. There's no terrible team in that division. Gotta be hater to put us that low. Went 9-7 with McCarthy from NKXU. I mean, Green Bay wasn't playing in that last game, and Detroit was sick at the end of the year. I've got the Vikings going 7-10 next year. If you want to call me out down the line, it's fine. You can do so. Call me out a little bit down the line there. You could put the Cardinals at the number 1 spot from Aiden. I don't think the Rams should do that. No, Brandon. Like, I know it's the ultimate move to do it, but what would make sense to me is if you trade Jared Verse. Like, if you trade Jared Verse, then that decision will stack up, right? But to me personally, you'd have to trade Jared Verse for that to make sense. Because you're going to have to pay Jared Verse. You can't be paying Jared Verse, Byron Rung, and Max Crosby. I would be heated if we trade Verse. He's a dog. He's already a dog. I love that kid at Florida State. I was a huge Florida State guy. Bro, look at the Cardinals' schedule. They might go 0-17. I think they're going to be 4-13. From now on, I'm only going to give wrong answers, and then I'll tell you when I'm done. Okay. I would personally keep Verse. I don't know what they're going to have to pay Verse, though. It's $20 million plus. From Jack7899, Z-Boy says having Green Bay third in the division is biased. I'm a fan of the Bears. So the Bears are 3-4 against the Packers in the last 4 matchups. I mean, they skated out of there. Jordan Love was hurt in 2 of those. Came back from 18 points in the playoffs. Like, probably shouldn't have won those games. But even as a Bears fan, like, I'm very high on Detroit and what they look like. One thing about this show is I really try and make it as unbiased as possible. The Bears beat the Eagles last year. They beat the Steelers. They beat the Commanders. They beat the Cowboys. They beat the Saints. They're higher than a lot of those teams. Who else did they beat? They were 2-1 against the Packers. They're higher than them. They lost to San Francisco. They lost to the Rams. They got beat by Detroit. In this instance, though, it's more about what Detroit has coming back for next year with Jones with Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. Rams really screwed up on Goff trading him. I mean, they won a Super Bowl, though. You can't ever say, to be honest with you, off topic. I know it's a good point, but when you win a Super Bowl, to me, it's like that's the ultimate. It worked immediately. McVay talked about it last. Might be old news. Brandon's like, they did not mess up trading Goff. Like, you got a Super Bowl out of it. You've been a contending team each of the last 3 years. I have no idea, J-Mo, bro. I have no clue. Jerry Jones is a cheapskate. Micah Parsons trade was one of the worst trades ever, but again, like they They got Quinnen Williams out of it. They got Malachi Lawrence out of it. They bring in Barham. Like, they're bringing in all these pieces that are cheaper. And they don't have to pay Micah $46.5 million, and then they can build players around instead of one player, right? So they could have paid Micah, but now they're going to have like 4 or 5 guys that add up to what Micah Parsons will equal. And, for Green Bay, it's not just Micah. Like, you have Micah, but you don't have the 2 first-rounders. So the Cowboys are able to add literally 5 players instead of Micah, and that equate to the contract. Goff did lead us to the Super Bowl, the most embarrassing Super Bowl ever. Goff is, Micah agent screwed that deal, to be clear. Walter Brubba says, yeah. We all hate on Jerry Jones in the state of Texas. I mean, how about that luck, though? I mean, this guy took some, I don't know, what was it? Was it inheritance? And then he took that money, he dug like 12 oil wells, and he hit on like 9 of them. And then from that money, he earned enough money the first couple of years to buy the Cowboys. Wasn't that the Jerry Jones story? I don't know how he got his initial money. I thought it was maybe inheritance for some of it, a loan, and he dug a couple wells, and that's how he was able to buy the Cowboys. At least that's how I think I watched it in an episode of Landman, and he told the story. Started out with oil, just like everything in Texas. The Niners also might not be contenders. I get they went 12-5, and Kyle can figure it out, but it's very hard to do that over and over with an older roster. Yep, with aging Warner and aging Bosa and Kittle off of an Achilles. We know what Drake Greenlaw's looked like. It hasn't been quite the same guy. Mike Mularkey. Titans should at least be above the Chargers. Squeeze Bands Edits, I appreciate you with the positive feedback. Squeeze, make sure that you're following Squeeze. Thank you. Mike Mularkey, the Titans should be above the Chargers. I'm going to disagree with you on that one. I know people are very low on Herbert, and they think he'll never amount to anything, and it's easy to hate on a guy that's making $50 million a year and doesn't have a need to hit the bars every weekend now that he's got a girlfriend. It's easy to hate on a guy like Justin Herbert, and so he hasn't won in the playoffs, so that's a point. But he's got Joe Alt now and Rashawn Slater at the tackles solidified. I gotta say that I'm very high on the Chargers. I got Herbert winning MVP next year. Of course, I'm high for them. Angie, what's your take on the Bucs? Why are they not playoffs? Well, the way they finished last year. I know that they had injuries, but they don't have Mike Evans anymore. He's been one of the best red zone threats for the last 12 years. There's an amount of efficient 1970 shotgun limit. Everyone's dude was, I don't know whoever said that. Interesting here. My logo for the Titans is outdated. I'm just using tier list. But I appreciate you, Mike. Mike, if you're not following, please make sure you do so. And Angie the Bangy, make sure that you're followed up. Harris, make sure you're followed. Appreciate you. Shuck will lead the Saints to the promised land. I'm not going to doubt you. I'm not going to doubt you there. I am a little bit concerned about what they're going to look like without their 2 captains, though, Demario Davis and Cam Jordan, moving on to different pastures. I'm not going to say greener, but they're certainly different pastures, right? Largest transaction in NFL history, $140 million. Jerry Jones invested in oil, had $90 million to buy the Cowboys, and borrowed the rest. I mean, that's what it's about. I appreciate the capybara. Thank you, Avery. Broncos are in the top tier, no doubt, from Luke MCM. So you're saying they're Super Bowl or bust, Luke? You're of the opinion that the Denver Broncos, if they don't win the Super Bowl, if they get to the Super Bowl and lose, that would be a disappointing season overall in its totality. Luke, is that where we're at? I'm going to go because I'm trying to get good sleep for once. J-Mo, bro, I got you. Go get that sleep, my man. Go get some good sleep. We'll be back here tomorrow. We'll be back on here, so don't worry. We'll catch up. Bengals should be one more down. They're overrated, so they should be in See It to Believe It. Yeah, go take off, J-Mo, bro. Appreciate you being in here. We'll be live again tomorrow. We'll catch you either tomorrow or sometime soon. Jerry got a loan, went in debt before hitting black gold. Texas T, as it's. I love that show as a kid, the Beverly Hillbillies. That's as good as it gets. Let's get the Vikings higher to give us some hope from Keyshawn. There's a lot of hope right now. That's the biggest thing. We got another capybara. Thank you, Avery. Let's get the Vikings higher. I just am not that high on Kyler, though. That's the thing. It's tough. It's tough. I gotta tell you, like Minnesota and what they have working right now. Maddox, I haven't seen your comment. What do you got here, Maddox? I was here yesterday and you haven't changed the Dolphins. Maddox, you remember what we talked about, right? Keyshawn, I seem like I'm from Minnesota. Yeah, the Midwestern vibe. I got a lot of family in the Midwest. My girlfriend's from Minnesota, so there you go. I would love to see an odd Super Bowl, meaning two teams who've never been, say, Browns and Lions. Give the Vikings at least 9 wins. So far, my prediction, I've got Minnesota going 7-10. Excited to see what Taft does in Miami. But Maddox, what do we got here, Maddox? Did Maddox take off? Maddox, you still here? I said Niners, I have going 10-7 next year. Colts will surprise a lot of people. Does that mean they're going to do good or does that mean they're going to do bad? Respectfully to them, of course. But I don't know if that means they're going to do good or if that means they're going to do bad. I think a lot of people were up on them last year and they look like the best team in football through the first part of the year. Y'all put Cincy on such a high pedestal for no reason at all. Are you saying where they are in this list specifically? From Bagel Boy? 1325? Playoffs? That's too high for Joe Burrow? Patrick Mahomes is kryptonite? Is that what we're saying right now? Is that where we're at? Texans should be in Super Bowl tier, but I understand it. Look, I've got the Texans going to the Super Bowl. This is it. I've got Will Anderson Jr., Defensive Player of the Year. I think we've talked about it. I think you've heard me say it, right? Like, I'm as high as it gets. But I don't think Texans fans are going to be devastated if they get to the Super Bowl and they lose. Like, you look at the totality of that season, it's like, all right, we'll sign CJ Stroud. He's our guy for the future. We're going to be fine. Ashley DeLeon, what's going on? Off topic with the comments. And, yeah, you understand it. I got you. Jerry is also responsible for the draft war room and all the inside looks. Jerry gets a lot of hate. He shouldn't give us football guys content before content. He has protection since his rookie sophomore year. No, Jerry's been unbelievable for the expansion of the NFL. Let's don't get that wrong. He's been integral. I learned that's the way you pronounce it. It's not integral, it's integral. Stress on the first syllable. Integral. Yep. Apparently, though, you can say it both ways. Apparently, you can say integral and integral, and either are fine. You can't answer